Welcome back, YouTubers. We made it through episode 1 and the midweek update, and we still got more stuff coming. We have quite a few things to go over here, and so I'm going to try and make this real quick. If this is your first time joining us, then welcome. If you'd like to keep up with all of our latest videos, then be sure to hit the thumbs up button and click on the red subscribe button down on your lower right hand corner of your screen there. If you do subscribe, don't worry, you won't be spammed, you won't get a bunch of emails from us or anything like that, and it won't cost you a penny. Basically what it is, it's more like following somebody on Facebook or on Twitter or on Instagram, or favoriting your favorite television show on your remote. So that's how you can keep up with us. We have an episode coming out once a week. If we have enough happening, we'll be doing midweek updates, and also we're going to be doing some special episodes. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. And if you have any story ideas, like someone you think we should interview, be sure to put that in the comment section below as well. If you have someone you think we should interview, like an Inland Northwest tribal leader or an up-and-coming athlete, feel free to contact us and let us know. We'd also like to know what stories you'd like for us to cover. Also, be sure to check out the Facebook page and send us any event flyers that you may have for powwows or basketball tournaments or whatever you got going. We'll be happy to post them to the Facebook page. Speaking of basketball, Hoopfest is right around the corner, and we'll be doing a special episode covering just the native teams. Be sure to send us your Hoopfest team names so we can track them. We're going to leave a link to the registration form down in the comment section below. Hoopfest will be a whole nother episode in itself, and we want to include you and your children and your grandchildren too. So in this episode, some of the things that we'll be covering, we have an interview with Evanlene Tallow. She's the American Indian Student Alliance Advisor from the Round Dance this past weekend at North Idaho College. We'll also have highlights from the University of Idaho powwow down in Moscow last weekend, and an interview with hand drum champion and jingle dress dancer Venessa P. She's going to give us an update on the upcoming Spokane Falls Community College powwow. We also have an interview with hip-hop artist and founder of the nonprofit New Developed Nations, Deekon Jones. And he'll be highlighting the work that he's doing with Eastern Washington University and Native American students in music therapy. We'll also have a link to the article that the Pacific Northwest Inlander did on Deekon in the comment section below. And later, we'll have an interview with Spokane Tribal Elder Dave BrownEagle, and he'll give us a little bit of insight on the Spokane Tribal Healthy Powwow that was held just this last weekend out in Welpin. Thanks again to everyone who made it out to see Neither Wolf Nor Dog down at the Magic Lantern Theater with Lakota Elder Dave BaldEagle. The first time Neither Wolf Nor Dog played down at the Magic Lantern, it ran for 8 weeks. They brought it back another week and sold out 2 theaters. So then they turned around and pushed it out a 10th week. So that makes the Magic Lantern in Spokane, Washington the longest run that Neither Wolf Nor Dog has had in the entire country. And if we keep it up, the Magic Lantern will be happy to host other Native American films right here in Spokane. So, if you remember in our first episode, we did an interview with Margot Hill, the Spokane tribal judge and director of Eastern Washington University's Tribal Planning Program. Now, this week, she had a great article on missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls that was published in the spring 2019 Indian Law newsletter published by the Indian Law section of the Washington State Bar Association. So we'll have a link to that article in the comment section below. The Spokesman Review just published an article that, it's kind of about time that they caught up to what's been going on. The headline reads, Tribes, Conservation Groups Cry Foul After Trump Administration Signals Rollback of Spokane River Quality Standards. Well, that's something that they should have been doing quite a while ago. Anyhow, the article goes on to state, state regulators, local Native American tribes, and environmental groups are crying foul after an apparent attempt this week by the Trump administration to begin talks of easing new regulations on carcinogenic chemicals in Washington's waterways. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency said it posted a notice in error soliciting public comment on plans to revisit the regulations which were approved in 2016 based on fish consumption rates in certain vulnerable populations, including tribes. And that's something that we should have been dealing with a long time ago. Moving right along. Back to something I talked to earlier this week in the midweek update. The missing and murdered Indigenous women story ran on CNN in 2 different segments, and that was a great catalyst into mainstream media. The New York Times ran an article, Native Women Are Facing a Crisis. 3 senators are hoping to combat what they see as an overlooked epidemic, missing, murdered, and trafficked women. Now, this is something they should have been covering a long time ago, but I'm happy to see that it's making its way to mainstream media and we're getting more and more attention. Something needs to be done. The article goes on to say, Native American women and girls are facing an epidemic of violence that is hiding in plain sight. They are being killed or trafficked at rates far higher than the rest of the U.S. population. On some reservations, women are 10 times likely to be murdered as the national average, according to the Justice Department. Some simply disappear, presumably forced into sex trafficking. 10 times. That's crazy. I can't begin to go on about how crazy that is. The article goes on to say these cases often go unsolved. Now, 3 senators are hoping to combat this epidemic. This bipartisan bill, called the Not Invisible Act of 2019, was introduced last week by Lisa Murkowski, Republican from Alaska, Catherine Cortez Masto, Democrat from Nevada, and John Tester, Democrat from Montana. It aims to change what the Indian Law Resource Center has called a lack of a diligent and adequate federal response to these crimes. Man, that's an understatement. We know this is something that's been going on, forever and a day. Indian people have been invisible to mainstream society for hundreds of years. And for the Native American women, the statistics haven't even been kept. There's all sorts of information out now on this. If you have any, if you're interested in looking this up, I'll leave a link to this article in the comment section below, and I'm also going to leave a link to the report that I left last time, and that's to the study that was done by the Seattle Indian Health Board on the missing and murdered Indigenous women in over 70 cities in the United States. There's some astonishing statistics that are in there. Some of the things coming up. The 2019 Kalispel Tribe Winter Spring Powwow is Saturday, April 20th out at Northern Quest Casino. It'll be from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. with grand entries at 1 and 7. The first salmon ceremony was announced, and that'll be held out at the Chief Joe Hatchery in Bridgeport, Washington on the Colville Reservation, and that's Thursday, May 23rd. And it's going to start at 6 a.m. They're going to be having lunch at 11:30 a.m. So don't want to miss that one. On the Spokane Res, though, there's Electronic Recycling Day. That'll be held April 22nd. A great step in the right direction. It'll be from 11 to 3 p.m. Coming up, this is going to be fun. The Keller Junior Rodeo. There'll be a link to all of these flyers in the comment section below. The Keller Junior Rodeo and Bolorama will be May 4th and 5th at 10 a.m. And that'll be at the Keller Rodeo ground. So you don't want to miss that. So those are some of the things that we got going. We got some interviews coming up with Evanlene Melting Tallow, Venessa Pete. We got an interview with Deekon Jones, and we got an interview with Dave BrownEagle coming up with highlights from all the powwows and the round dance and that program that he's starting with Eastern Washington University, helping Native American students out at Eastern. So stick around. Again, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. We'll be happy to take suggestions and tips for news stories. So. Again, like and subscribe, and be sure to follow the Facebook page and follow us on Twitter as well. Thanks again for joining us. So we're out here at the North Idaho College Round Dance, and so we're here with Evanlene. Evanlene, can you tell us a little bit about your event you got going here?
Well, this event that we're doing here at North Idaho College, it's a round dance and it's a community event, and this is how we decided to do it, is that we want community to come and see us here at North Idaho College. We invited resource tables, and the reason why we did that, so people could see things in the community. Like we invited different, like Marion Howell from Plummer to come and be able to give out information, St. Vincent's de Paul, the American Indian Community Center, and also Niche is our higher ed for the Coeur d'Alene area here, so that we can give education information. Then we also have, for family too, is we have the crafts here. So what they can do is make parflatch, gourd necklaces, dream catchers, and all this is for family. We want to build a gathering together, and then we had an exhibition of all the dances and regalia and the history of it. And so it's just about family, about community. And today our students presented the foundation with $10,000 to go toward our endowment for our Chinchi scholarship. So this was a legacy for them, and it's a very proud moment for them too. So they have raised over $87,000, given away 54 scholarship in the amount of over $55,000 since 2009.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. That's awesome. That's a lot of great work that they're doing. I noticed that you and a couple of the other gals in there, well, quite a few of them actually, have the red skirts on. Can you talk a little bit about that and the significance for you guys?
Yes, in just a few minutes, we're going to talk an awareness about the Indigenous women and children murder and missing. We did have a presentation that was done in October, and one of our students' great-great-grandmother is a case that is still open on the Coeur d'Alene Res, and so it was very hard for her to talk about it, but it's an awareness that we need to have the world know and the nation know in Indian country that we are not forgetting that we are here for our women and our children, and to raise awareness that this is a need and this is something that should be brought up everywhere.
Wow, that's great. Do you, I don't know if you know this or not, but there was an article published in the New York Times. I think it came out yesterday. It was either yesterday or today. Mm-hmm. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
What do you think about that?
I think it's important because this is awareness, because they're not being counted, they're not being, if they're missing, nobody looks for them. And these are our mothers, these are our grandmothers, these are our girls. These are the ones that are close to our hearts. They need to be found, and we need awareness of it.
All right, that's great. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just want to thank everybody, all the people who's participated, and thanks to the community for coming.
All right, for Inland Northwest Native News, thanks for joining us, Evanlene. I look forward to it. All right, so we're here with PowWow rock star Venessa Pete. How you doing today?
Doing pretty good.
All right, so I heard that you won the hand drum contest last night. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
All right, what was the competition like? Was there a lot?
I think there's like 6 or 7 of us, and I was the only girl.
Oh, that's great. I really like your style. You guys have a lot of good lyrics, and you have a great voice. How'd you do in Women's Jingle today?
Oh, I think I did pretty good. I'm trying to get back in shape. It's been a long winter.
How's the competition this year?
It's always pretty tough in Women's Jingle. Pretty stacked.
Yeah, that's great. So I heard that you guys are going to be doing the SFCC PowWow. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we're having a PowWow May 18th. We're bringing it back. Hasn't been going on for a few years because we redid our gym. Me and my husband Shanta are the president, vice president of the Red Nations Club. So we're bringing it back this year. So far we have 3 host drums, Red Tail, Bad Canyon, and Black Bull Juniors. And our MC is going to be Gabby Krell. And we're still working on our AD right now, our arena director.
All right. That's great. So which PowWow are you looking forward to the most this year, aside from the SFCC PowWow?
Arlie is probably my favorite because we see all our family there.
So I was just curious if you guys had any good team dancers that you're assembling. I know you guys did really well down at Gathering at the Falls a couple years back.
Yeah, my girls, they've been having babies lately. Tony had a new baby and AJ's had some new babies. So yeah, we kind of been falling behind on that, but hopefully we'll get back into it sometime soon.
All right, well, congratulations to them, and I hope to see you out on the PowWow Trail again this year. Thank you very much. See you later.
Inland Northwest Native News, like and subscribe.
All
right, so we are here with Deekon. Deekon, do me a favor, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you grew up, and a little bit about the program that you're doing.
So I was born Ricky Jones in Lapwai, Idaho, Nez Perce Tribe Reservation, and I grew up with a close-knit community in that time, and we ran all over the reservation with our friends, rode bikes, did all of the fun, activities that nobody really had too many worries about us back then. And I think the biggest issue, which has been an unfortunate common theme on the reservations, is alcohol abuse or drug abuse. And my best friends would often complain about some of their environments growing up. And my growing up is I always wanted to try to help everybody do better, feel better, live better. And so I would often try to help any way I could. I'd be 5 years old telling my best friends, you could come live with me, and just trying to find a way to help them out. And so this sort of the work that I've been doing kind of stems from the environment that I grew up in, which I didn't know any different. So everything that I always wanted to do was just to try to have people live a better, healthier life.
All right, so I was scrolling around, I was Facebooking, all things Facebook, you know how that is. So I was scrolling through Facebook, and I came across your face. Your smiling face came up on the Inlander Facebook page, and so I clicked on it. They did a story on you. That's how I found out about what you're doing. So you're working with Eastern Washington University now. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've been working with Nicole Devon out of Eastern for a while now, trying to put something together to support the tribal students that come to Eastern. What they've been noticing is if anything happens that is, negative towards the students that are there, it's easy for them just to pack up and go back home. It's a foreign world for a lot of us that didn't grow up in the city, and we're already anxious about what might happen when we're there, and then something bad happens and it's okay, it's time to go. So
yeah, kind of the fight or flight mentality. Yeah.
And so me growing up that way, going to Arizona for college and playing sports, I figured that I would be okay. And then when I got there, I realized there was no other Native students there at all, and nobody could really help. I thought these guys were silent. Sorry.
You're a busy man.
So there's the idiosyncrasies of growing up on the reservation and living my life that way my entire life. I didn't know any different. So when I got to college, there was nobody that really understood even the simple things, the humor, some of the strife that we went through were completely different. There was food that was a different thing. Everything, how we speak to each other, it was just so different that I didn't feel comfortable. And people told me to wait it out, tough it out a little, and I tried, and I didn't have a cell phone, and so I was talking about I'd have to get some cash, break it, get quarters, use the payphone, and call home. Yes, yes, yeah, right in the middle of the dorm room, or in the dorm hall. Yeah. And so that's how I kind of tried to stay in touch with people at home that kept me comfortable. And it just ended up being something that I was like, I can't live this way for 4 years. So it's time for me to go. And I left. And so at Eastern, if there's something there for the students to lean back on, and we're doing music, we're doing poetry, spoken word, we're recording, we're doing all these fun things, but you're also there with people that are like yourself, it gives them a little bit of a support system. So if something bad happens, they can always come to the studio, or they can always write something and speak to us about it at any moment.
That's great. That's awesome. I went to Whitworth up here, and I think our first Native American student union meeting, there were 4 of us.
Yeah.
So, and there were two of them. I went to Whitworth when I was right about 40, and so when I first started going there, and so there was one other guy that was like 40, and then two of the kids were a lot, half our age.
Yeah.
So there was 2 of them, and then 2 of us older guys, and that was kind of it. So I could totally understand, coming from the res, that was probably a culture shock for you. I didn't myself grow up on the res, but I know that there's a lot of differences between just small things, like you talked about the humor, the things you joke around about, those things that make you feel comfortable. And when you have those things that you're not familiar with, which you're not accustomed to, or nobody was there to kind of walk you through all of these things, it can be really intimidating. So I really appreciate what you're doing. So you have a nonprofit. Can you talk a little bit about the nonprofit?
Yes, the nonprofit's called New Developed Nations. Mm-hmm. And it was developed, I started working on the nonprofit portion a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And I partnered with Harvard, their School on Addictions, Dr. Howard Schaefer. He's on the board of directors for the nonprofit. And it's based, this music aspect is one branch of what I want to do to kind of help the community heal in a lot of ways. So music is it's an honest place where a lot of us get to go. Anybody, if you've never written music before and you write in your journal or anything, you can be 100% honest, and you can light it on fire or throw it in the trash right when you're done. And it does something for you to be able to put these things out, get them out. So New Developed Nations is based around bringing in people that want to find a way to heal through trauma or addiction or anything. We create music from scratch. We tell your story through music or poetry or journaling. And we base everything we work with around the music that you create. So if you come in for alcoholism, we're not going to hand you a paperwork that says, here's the negative effects of alcohol. We're going to go through your music, your life story, your lyrics, and we're going to find root issues through the stories you tell. And your issue might be when you feel alone is when you end up using. And so we're going to work on abandonment issues and coping skills to help you learn to have different outlets when you feel these triggers. Mm-hmm. So the basis of New Developed Nations is getting to the root issues of any trauma you may have and trying to help you grow through any means that feels comfortable for you.
Yeah, that's great. I found this article. That's how I found you. This article in this week's edition of the Pacific Northwest Inlander, Taxing the Rich. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
But I saw this picture. I was flipping through. I saw this picture of you. It's a great picture. Young did a great job with it. But one of the things that I saw in here, and it mentioned that the graduation rates in Native Americans is really low. It's like 25% of them or something like that, I think it was saying. Can you talk a little bit about this article? Can you talk a little bit about the statistics?
Yes, the statistics are, they're definitely not where we need them to be. So a lot of the, let's say recidivism rates, the national average for anybody is 90% of the time if you go through any treatment or anything, you're going to relapse. That's the national average for America. So finding, this is just a small portion of looking at a bigger picture. So I look at graduation rates the same way as I look at recidivism rates. All of these are success rates. So if we're having 90% failure in our field and something comes along that helps, my program the recidivism rate has been around 23%. So it's much better than the national average for sure. So if we just look at how we treat people, and I've said this time and time again, everything that I do is how you treat somebody, how you respect somebody. And if you're to the level of validation, somebody has a bad day at school, just like me, I left. I just packed up, I left. That's what we're seeing at Eastern. Something bad. Nobody understands me, so I'm leaving. And that's
fight or flight.
Yes, definitely fight or flight. And so if we have even just one person to come and say, yes, that was terrible what happened to you. I understand why you feel that way. And what can we do to make it better?
Well, I think a good, intergenerational trauma is rampant through Indian country. And I think when you go into a society that is unfamiliar with the negative effects of intergenerational trauma or any of that type of trauma, people that are very culturally unaware of your upbringing or what your norms are, it can be really intimidating. You get out there and you're trying to fit in, but clearly the cultures are different. Clearly there's a difference, and without having any kind of support system, that can be devastating. That could be another form of trauma in itself, almost.
Definitely.
Yeah. So we're gonna just kind of keep this brief for the episode, episode 2. But if real quick, do you have how do people get a hold of you? Do you have a Facebook page or Twitter or how?
Yeah, I have a Facebook page. It's Deekon Jones, DEEKON Jones. A Twitter, same, Deekon Jones. Everything is Deekon Jones, and my email is ndndeekon@gmail.com, and that's where I get a lot of questions, which is kind of odd because I thought the social media would be the one impacting it most. But my email, I get a lot of the questions, and it's an easy way to communicate.
Yeah. So would you be open to coming out and talking to some of the Native youth at different maybe schools or organizations?
Yeah, for sure. My biggest goal here right now is just me doing this program. Mm-hmm. My biggest goal is to have Native students learn what I'm doing, train them to do exactly what I'm doing, and grow this all across the Indian country and the U.S. and anywhere else it may be needed. So I'm always open to speaking with people that have interest in what's going on and people that want to help, and I'm always open to that.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you coming out, and I think we're going to keep you in the loop and watch you, follow your progress with the school, with your nonprofit. Hopefully we'll be able to interview some of your success stories, some of the people come through that you work with. I'm really excited about that.
In the Northwest Native News, like and subscribe.
All right, we're out here with David BrownEagle at the PowWow. The David Brown Indian? Is that what you meant? So we're out here whelping
I'm kind
it.
of brown, and I'm an Indian.
And kind of brown.
Yeah.
All right. You're like a brown.
A brown Native American Indian.
Huh?
Or a brown American Indian, or brown Spokane Ho-Chunk.
Oh,
Hey,
Spokane Ho-Chunk.
Spokane Ho-Chunk. Okay.
So you guys, can you tell us a little bit about this powwow? What's the significance of it, and why is it now? We haven't had this powwow out here, kind of April now. So.
Yeah, well, going back, I remember we had, for a couple of years, we had a powwow. I think it was around in April. And it was a powwow, spring powwow, and then we had several others. But the significance of this one is we, meaning the Spokane tribe, were planning the 1881 powwow, January 18th, and unfortunately we had some deaths and passing. So we planned another date in February, and I believe that week we had like 4 deaths, young people, older people. And so personally, I didn't feel right. And I know there's a controversy if you stop the powwow, if you don't have to stop the powwow. And it's everybody's opinion on what is right, right?
Yeah, it's everybody's opinion.
Yeah. So everybody, you believe one way or believe the other way, and either way is okay. But I'm just talking about my own feeling, is I just didn't feel right that we should have a powwow. Okay. So I got a hold of Carol and I said, why don't we just cancel it to next year? Then we can really plan another powwow in 1881, January 18th. And she agreed. And a couple of weeks ago, Neil approached me and said, we have to have a powwow. We need healing. We need to get our feet back on the ground and dance and sing and have that good feeling, because right now we're all kind of hurting, and I totally agree. So the people that are here, there's other things going on, other things doing, I totally understand that. No, but the people are here, and so far everything I've been hearing, they said they're glad they're here. But before the closing of this afternoon session, I asked 4 gentlemen to come up and speak about some of the issues that we have within our own community as Native people, as American Indian people, as tribal people. and well spoken. We talked about the violence, we talked about the alcohol, we talked about healing, we talked about things that affect us personally and as a tribe and tribes, because we had 4 different tribes speak, plus myself, and so that was 5 tribes.
So, do you think this is going to be an annual thing in addition to the 1881, or is this a new addition to the PowWow lineup, or whelping it?
Well, Neil and I talked about that last night, and we're leaning that way, that it'll be an annual thing. Inland Northwest Native News, like and subscribe.
All right, that'll work.
And send me $5. Every one of you, give me enough $5 donations, we'll have a bigger powwow next year.
Right.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. All right. Thanks, Dave.
Hey, thank you.
Cool.